Alright, back on the rail trail. But like I said, up in that area there are quite a few old foundations. If you come up here in the wintertime, you can see them a lot more. They all down there and up further away, there's a whole bunch of them. But we're gonna go explore southeast here now. Of course, they have a little map thing for you here, and tell you a little bit of the history of Rausch Gap. Stood here from 1828 to 1910, 1,000 people, until the coal ran out and the railroad moved. And I'm going to head down here. This is actually the Appalachian Trail. It comes across the bridge here and goes south. Well, actually, this is northbound on the Appalachian Trail. It's just that this place is actually going south. But so we'll check out the southeast corner now. Right, the rail trail is right up there. I shouldn't go too far down that one trail. Just came over here a little bit. But here on the south side of the trail, this is where some larger buildings were. I know they had like a large machine shop out here for working on the railroads. I think there's a school and a church out here too, so I'm thinking these larger foundations, well, there's some old glass. I think that's what these larger foundations down here were. And whatever this was, it was a pretty large building. It goes all the way down. Still some nice stonework down there. I'm on top of that foundation now, and you can see little furrows here. And there's one up there. I don't know if they're a part of the foundation, probably, or if there's some large building here. Some wooden beams went across there or something, but nothing there now. Here's another view of that foundation. It's a pretty well preserved section of it. Of course, you can't see this from the rail trail, so when people come biking and hiking down here, they don't see this stuff unless you get off trail. Of course, this is a coal mining town, so you always find scraps of coal everywhere. And then just past that other foundation, there's another built up area. It's flat up here. Some other buildings were all up here. Don't know what they were. Over there's that other foundation I was talking about. So all along up here, along the south side, there were larger buildings. And sometimes you can find little relics and stuff looking around. Not today though, because all this ground cover is still here. So I'm gonna head back to the other trail, I think, and then head down from there. There's all kinds of interesting things here. Someone made like a little, well, sometime long ago, someone made a little trail here. All these pile these rocks up here, and stood this big one up here. Not sure why. Of course, everyone that did this is dead like 100 years ago, so can't ask them. Here's a trash pit. There's some oyster shells. Not a trash pit, but a trash pile. Some bricks. All kinds of coal ash here. An interesting place to poke around for a little bit. I'm sure it's been poked through by a lot of other people though. Alright, I'm back on that other trail again. I'm gonna go down here first so you can get a view of the bridge up here again. And you can see from this side it's damaged pretty heavily on this side. This is back from the flooding in 2011. It did a lot of damage to the foundation down there. The whole thing's kind of sagging now, so even more fell out since last time I was here. There's a gap forming there. Those pieces will fall out soon, and you can see a gap under the bridge there. So it won't be too much longer for this thing is gone completely, which is a shame. So I'm hiking down that trail here now. Of course, this is the Appalachian Trail again, like I said. So there are some cool things down here. There's also a cemetery down here. About half a mile down the trail is a cemetery, so there are things to see down here as well. When I get to them, I'll show them to you. I should add that this section of the trail coming out of Rausch Gap was also an old road at one time that went all the way over the mountain. This area is also heavily used by people on the Appalachian Trail for camping. A lot of tents go up here at times. It's a beautiful place to camp if you are on the trail. Of course, the Game Commission has trouble keeping people out of here that aren't through hikers. They don't want them out here, but people come out here anyway to hike or to camp too. Not supposed to camp overnight on state game lands, but unless you're hiking the Appalachian Trail. So they try and Game Commission tries to keep tabs on that, but they don't get everybody. Over here are some remains of foundations. Over here on the side here even. I'm not sure what all exactly was down here. I think this is where they actually did more of the processing with the coal. I'm not sure about that, but 'cause down further you find a lot of coal dust, stuff that's too small to sell. Large piles of it down here in some places. Just off the trail here is an old well. It's been filled in, and last time since I've been here someone's used it as a fire pit, but there's a lot of hiking, a lot of camping goes on in here too. Right over here is a foundation to a house or something. That's a pretty big one actually. It's all the way down there. Goes across here, goes all the way down. Pretty big building here. Don't know what it was though. Still walking down this old trail, and there's another old foundation to something. We're off the road. Cemetery's just down the way here, so I'm gonna keep on walking. Oh, up and here's another foundation too. It still has some nice stonework to it. Just full of stuff out here. So here's a split off. The Appalachian Trail continues down that way. And right here's a sign for the cemetery. Just goes on up that way. And this whole section of the trail is just a beautiful section to walk on. We're gonna go down to the cemetery now. It's just down here, out here in the middle of nowhere. We'll be back. And here we are. Came down from up there. It's a beautiful place to be buried out here. So this is my last will and testament. When I die, I want to be buried out here, if at all possible. Let's take a look at some of these. We have, in memory of John Proud, born Dunham, England, and died in 1854, aged 52 years. What's it say here? Oh, it's like a poem or something. Long time, can't quite read it all. Anyways, I'm still trying to read this. Something about long time I bore all, something skill was vain, till God did please to give me ease and free me from my pain. There's a little one, Catherine, daughter of John and Elizabeth Blackwood. Died June 16th, 1854. Age 1 year, 1 month, and like 7 days. So just a baby. Here's Andrew Allen. Memory of Andrew Allen, a native of England who met his death by accident at Gold Mine Gap, June 9th, 1854, age 30 years, 2 months, and 17 days. And I'll try to make sense of his epitaph here, if I can read that. Well, I can only make out parts of the epitaph. If I had brought a pencil and some paper, I could, you can put the paper on here and scratch a pencil over the paper, and it'll put the outline of the words on the paper, and you can kind of read old tombstones better. There are several other ones back here, unmarked ones. There's one over here. And probably all within this area there are a number of unmarked ones, most likely. But these 3 tombstones are the only one marked ones that are standing. But it's a real peaceful spot. Like I said, I would love to be buried out here. Not that I'm thinking of dying anytime soon, but... So, if you do come down the Rausch Gap, don't make an effort to come down this way. This is an absolutely beautiful, peaceful place to just sit for a while. Just sit, meditate, pray, or whatever it is you do. It's a beautiful place to do it. But I can't stay here forever. I gotta leave. So I'm gonna head on back up that trail and back up to the center of town. Before I leave this place, I just would like to add that there are rumors that there is a black cemetery on the other side of the creek towards Cold Spring, but I haven't found any evidence anyone's found it. It's 3 miles to Cold Spring, so that's quite a bit of wilderness to search for. I have looked for it once or twice, but that's a pretty daunting task, though. So just throwing that out there, that it's not definite, but that's just a rumor. Of course, when I say black cemetery, that means it's where they would have buried the African Americans that worked up here. Of course, this was an operation, when slavery was still around in the South, and even though blacks have been freed up here, they didn't have quite a high social status, so they would have been buried in a separate graveyard. That's just the way it was back then. So that's what I meant by black cemetery.